when I'm 64.
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our guests this morning are Aleph Halaby of Total Financial Solutions, and later in the hour we will be speaking with Kim Wall, who is an alternative medicine advocate. Arif, how are you, my love?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me. A lot of the choices in the world today for seniors and places that they can listen to, and so they are joining us today, so it's kind of nice.
That's good.
It's kind of fun.
Good.
Isn't it interesting? The world today, I don't know if you've paid attention, for some of you that might still have your money in the stock market, it's made some changes, like very high, very low.
Yes.
If you have blood pressure medicine, keep it close, because it is definitely a scary time, so... Yeah. You know, when times are good, it's funny. Everybody says they did something. Oh, look at my account. I went up. My broker. Everybody thinks they did something as if they took credit. And then when it went down, of course, nobody wants to take the blame. They just use words like, oh, it's only a paper loss. It's a paper loss. I'm like, well, when it went up, was it a paper gain? Oh, it wasn't, right? You counted it as real money.
That's right. It is real money.
I think so, and if it's yours and you're going to cash it out, you might as well put it in your bank or keep it or do something. Listen, I'm okay if you want to have some of the money at risk, especially if you're much younger or you have more than enough you need, and you say, I want to play with some, I want to have some in the market. Okay, fine. But if you're worried about you or your spouse or your particular lifestyle, and you're getting up there in age where you're uninterested in going back to work, and you have no desire to go back and earn this money again because it's lost, then I think protecting some or even all of your money might be a wise choice.
Well, I would think so, and I'm very fortunate. We have invested wisely.
You have.
And stayed away from the stock market.
People think that that's their only choice.
But it isn't.
It is not.
No.
It is not. I think you understand this, but a lot of folks forget that there are multiple places you can put your retirement account, and very few of the choices that are right for you have the kind of risk that the stock market has, because you have to pick correctly. Now, it may eventually go up if you have 20 or 30 years before you need the money, but I thought this was a show for and about seniors, so 20, 30, 40 years is a little bit of a long time.
That is a long time,
right?
unless you're going to live until 100 or 110
yes.
or 120.
And by then, you don't care. You're probably not as concerned,
no,
right? Because your life is settled in. It's where you're going to be. For me, it's very simple. In my 50s now, I have to think twice about this. I have to think, listen, I have certainly a lot less working years in front of me than I have behind me.
That's true.
So I could afford to take some chances and take a couple of risks, and let's try this. If that didn't work, let's try that. So personally, the 50s, 60s, as you start getting up there, 70s in age, I think you have less opportunities to recover that money, and that's the scary part, because nobody knows when it goes down how long it's going to stay down. That's
right.
what we have to be concerned about.
That's right. And that is an absolute unknown.
It is.
There's no way to predict that.
There isn't.
None at all.
I had somebody in the office yesterday. He was 60, and he says, oh, I invest this way and this way. I said, well, so what can I help you with? I said, is there some or part of your money you want to keep safe? And he says, well, I think so. I'd like to put this apart, but this money over here, I want to keep it in real estate. I said, okay, what's going on? He said, well, for the next couple of years, I think real estate has 2 more years before it drops. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's great. I think there's probably Bigfoot somewhere because it's a big forest. It doesn't mean it really happens. So I said, so that's interesting. Why do you think that? So he had this whole theory. He says, I saw somebody on CNBC, and he said that, and I thought, that's great. Flip to one more channel this way or that way, and you'll see somebody that will say the opposite. What I'm saying is all of those theories are guesses. They might be correct, but if you guess that the clock is broken or that the clock is correct, remember twice a day a broken clock is even right? So
that's right.
the weatherman is right every once in a while. And we still tune into the same guy. Same weather lady. They can be wrong tomorrow, and we'll check them the next week. And you're like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, they come on and they say, well, we have some such and such today and such tomorrow, and then we have a big surprise, and we'll tell you about it.
After the break.
Yes.
And then you stay there, and it's going to be the same. We're in Southern California,
No
really?
change.
You have
That's
8
right.
days of rain a year, and that's about it. After that, I don't know what we're thinking about. So don't think, you guys, that your broker is like the weatherman, in my opinion. They both can be right, and as long as they're right once or twice, you'll turn back to them. But if your broker has lost your money, or you didn't get a phone call 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago that said, hey, we think the market is peaked. You've made 8% already this year. You've made 6%. It's time to get out. If you didn't get that phone call, then your broker's not interested. They're not bad people, but they're not interested in timing the market. And they'll tell you that's not their job. They just hold your money. Their job isn't to make you money. It's to keep your money. Otherwise, they would only be paid if they made you money, not be paid more if they made you. People, the brokers say, I get paid. I'm like my clients. If they do better, I do better. Right, but they're the only one taking the risk. Because if it goes backwards, they're the only ones that lose.
That's right.
Not you.
Exactly.
Unless you're going to put the money in. And so be careful when you're trying to watch this, the broker game. It's not a deal where you should be putting all of your eggs in one basket.
I agree with you completely. It's very interesting. That's one of the things that we have never really thought seriously about is investing in the stock market. Because there's nothing safe about it.
All it takes is for somebody to pass away. We often have the guys a bit more of a risk taker. So I've invested. I have my stocks. I have it laid out. Yeah, but what if you pass away or you have a stroke? Your wife doesn't understand that you're supposed to sell this one next week because you didn't share it with her.
No.
And so all of a sudden you wrote it up and you wrote it down and you lost everything. So if you're going to have your money in an autopilot scenario, then make sure everybody's on board. A phone call I had earlier just before coming on the air. Lady says, I have $200,000. I've inherited it. It's my sole and separate property. Okay. She's just about 60. She said, what can I do with it? I said, well, we can get a 3% return right now. Guaranteed 3. It's actually a little higher than that. It's like 3.1. You get that guaranteed. You can take the interest out every year if you want. So in her case, she's going to take out $500 a month. No problem. And I said, okay, how about retirement accounts? She said, well, my husband, believe it or not, ready? My husband is a CPA. I said, great. Okay. She said, I said, so what about retirement accounts? Have you guys had? She goes, I don't even know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? She said, well, he's a partner at a CPA firm. He's been there for so many years, and he's really good. We make X amount of dollars per year. We're doing very well. But I have no idea if we have a retirement account.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, my gosh, they have children. A house. She has her, money that she inherited from her mom. That's fine.
But that's not going to last forever.
Yeah, and what if he doesn't have a retirement account?
Right.
What if this is it? And so she's like, oh, I think he does. Well, I get that you're passionate or you really, really believe something, but you've heard me say it before. 1 + 1 is 2, whether you feel like it's 4 or whether you're super passionate and you hold a sign on, Magic Mountain and McBean. 1 + 1 is still 2. It's not 6. It's not 8. It's not 47, it's 2.
We find that commonly in my practice where on occasion the husband or the wife will not know what the needs are, long-term needs are of the other. And that happens all the time. But for it to be happening financially is a lack of communication. And, maybe they need to be sitting down. And Arif, since we've known you, that you have given just great advice to our seniors.
Thank you.
I know Barbara talks about not being in the stock market, but, there's a lot of problems with it. As I was listening to you and you said, have your blood pressure medication ready.
Yeah, it's a crazy ride.
It's up and down. And you really, since you don't know how long you're going to live and how long does this have to last, you really don't know, how much you need and how long you need it for. And when it comes to that, you could lose all of it in just a matter of a few moments, at least on paper. And, in your mind, you will be devastated. Why go to sleep with that worry all the time. That to
That's
me
right.
is not worth it.
I think you'll see many people walk through their financial life trying to figure out should they have some or part of their money at risk. Here's a simple formula. It's a fairly simple way to figure this out. Take a look at what your guaranteed income streams are. Social Security, pension, maybe rental properties, right? You'll have various sources of income. The various sources of income that you have on one side of the equation, that's for your needs. And then you might have your assets. If we were to turn those dollars into an income stream, how much do they need to be in order for you to live?
Mm-hmm.
Because if your food, shelter, clothing comes from a guaranteed income source, it usually gives us peace of mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you were to live like the stock market lives and you're counting on that for your income, oh, today we lost 2%. Tomorrow we made 1%. This month we lost 6%. If I was to say, hey, your Social Security check is normally $2,000 a month, but next month they're going to only give you $1,800. You would say, well, I budgeted for this.
Mm-hmm.
I've already spent my electric bill.
Mm-hmm.
I can't afford that. But that's what you're doing with the market, with your money at risk. When it goes up and down,
Mm-hmm.
if you're counting on it for your lifestyle, for your food, shelter, clothing, you can't get a discount on your rental rental income,
No.
That's right.
right?
It's
Or your
set.
mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fixed numbers. So we try to be careful to watch those dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of it.
It's a very big part of it.
Keep some or part of your money that's designed for income now or medium term or even long term. Keep that protected. You want to speculate? There's some great brokers out there. They'll do that. We don't do that. I think you need to have an expert in the different areas. I'm an expert in safety and in guaranteed sources of income. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to protect your principal. We want to be experts in never losing your money.
Well, and you're to protect and to serve, which is
That sound familiar?
Sound familiar? To protect and to serve, and of course you've come from a background of being a member of our fine LAPD, and you've taken that into your practice to help people out, to protect and to serve.
Well, it was a great experience. I tell you, it was a 10-year, almost 11-year career, but it gave me an opportunity, but for a big car accident and having to retire. But it gave me a good opportunity to serve and to have a wonderful experience. It was before the craziness of today. You know, even back then we thought
It was
things
crazy kind of then too. But
we did. It was
you know,
post.
there's a
it
lot
was
of
Rodney
stuff.
King time, so there was a lot of pressure.
Stuff going on.
We felt that, but at the same time today, with everybody having video cameras, listen, if you want your law enforcement officers to wear video cameras, then you better expect and demand your city council and your mayor to wear a video camera all day long.
That's great.
There is no reason they should
Accountability. You're
not.
right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And when
Oh,
they have
Arif, that's a great idea.
when they have an interaction with the public, they need to hit the button and turn on their video camera. When they have you want your police commission, when they are in meetings deciding the fate of you as citizens, they better be turning on that video camera.
How about doctors?
I think
Why not?
A doctor just abused the entire Olympic team for nearly a generation.
And no one said anything.
He needs to have a video camera. If you think if you distrust your law enforcement that much, now maybe it's a genie that can't go back in the bottle, but you better understand something, guys. You're not going to get the good people that want to be in that job anymore. You're going to have fewer and fewer decent officers that want to do the job. That look at Jack Nicklaus. Remember him?
Nicholson.
Nicholson. Sorry,
Yes.
the actor, right? You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. Listen, I'm not going to advocate any kind of craziness, but nobody wants to know how the sausage is made. They want protection. And you want the rights to be withheld, and we have a constitution. Well, that's the same thing, I think, with the protection of our community.
Absolutely.
You need and want the right people to protect, and they're not going to do it. Just like very few good people go into politics anymore. They say, really? You want to talk about, a relationship I had 7 years before I was ever thinking about politics, and now you want now forget it. I'll go back into business. Or you think you want to, I'll go do something else. You want to talk about my financial stuff 15 years ago? Forget it. Right? So people are saying that they are not interested in politics, not because of the politics, not because of the public service, but because of the personal tax that the extremists do. Well, imagine if you dealt with that. If I went to a doctor, I'm only dealing with my physicians that have good bedside manner. I used to think that matters. Now, Dr. Dorio, you may be an exception, but I really don't care. I'm not interested in being my doctor's friend. I'm not interested in going out to dinner with you. I'm not interested in a glass of wine with you. I'm here because you're the best doctor, period. Fix me. Well, I'll have a friend outside. You have a wonderful receptionist. I'll meet her and we'll have friends.
well,
Me and my wife, her husband, we'll all go out to dinner. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
Although
you
these days-
fix me or refer me to someone
That's
who
right.
can.
That's right.
Yeah.
Although in these days, Arif, you need to have an advocate doctor.
I agree.
When there's
Yes.
so many hoops for doctors to jump through to be able to get the care that they need for their patients. And if you have a doctor that
Yes.
just sits back and says, I'm sorry, your
That's
CAT
right.
scan of the head was denied.
That's right.
And we can't do anything about that. Then you're pretty much fried. You're
That's
done.
right.
And you're not going to get good care. So you're
They're-
young, you're in your 50s, but when you're on Medicare and Medicaid and even still the agencies, insurance agencies are out there. They're trying to save themselves bucks.
All day long.
They're going to do it against you. And nowadays, it should be the role of the physician to be the advocate. But the bad part is there are many physicians who are employed by insurance companies, by
Yes.
HMOs, by hospitals, and when their salaries are being dangled
That's
in
right.
front of them, and if you don't do this, and if you don't do that, and if you don't meet these quotas, and you don't save us this money, we're going to let you go.
Well, the moment you took the patient out of the paying for the service and you created a third party, it's the same thing. If I pay Barbara and the restaurant is serving me dinner, the restaurant doesn't have to take care of me. They have to take care of Barbara. So the point is, when you have an advocacy situation, I think you need to have a full-time advocate, a medical background, maybe a nurse practitioner, maybe a physician who's chosen a different career path that understands the words, the terms, and the system. But my health insurance, pre-Obamacare, was $872 a month with a $4,000 deductible.
For 4 of you.
For 5.
5 of you.
Last year was $2,100 a month with an $8,000 deductible. This year, last month I got it. Are you ready? $3,190 a month is my premium with
What?
a $12,000 deductible.
Incredible.
Now,
Holy cow.
So
if-
that's why you certainly need
so
to
I
have
can
an
tell you that the Obamacare scenario, when you rob Peter to pay Paul, you'll always have Paul's support. Paul thinks it's a good idea. I think we should take from Barbara to give to me. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
You really think that the people getting the free stuff, and listen, some of them are seniors. Hey, listen, I used to pay $300 a month. Now I pay $18 or $180.
Exactly.
Everybody wants free stuff.
Yeah.
You have to fight your inner greed
Yeah.
for the greater justice of all, meaning it's just not right to steal from somebody. I don't care if the government does it, if the mechanic shop does it, or the doctor's office. It's not right to take from you to give to somebody else. They take $60,000 a year. I have to make 65 grand before I can put 1 penny in my savings account, pay one employee.
But that's the role of an advocate and maybe a medical
I agree.
advocate. But
Somebody
most
has to
importantly,
fight.
most importantly, is you are the financial advocate for this community and our seniors. And
Thank
people
you.
have to
Absolutely.
understand that. That's what you are doing. So there are definitely hoops to jump through, but you're helping them with that.
I appreciate that. You guys always give me a good,
yes,
good
you've
voice
definitely
here.
helped us. And
Thank
thank you, Arif.
My
that
pleasure.
was great.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Next time, guys.
Great. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others, We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Aloha, friends! Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Indulge yourself in the world of wine at the 6th Annual Sierra Pelona Valley Wine Festival, Saturday, April 21st from noon till 4 p.m., benefiting the Zonta Club of SCV. Get your Chardonnay on with live music, gourmet food, handmade crafts, and the best local wine Santa Clarita has to offer at Reyes Winery. Dionysus dilettantes and wine connoisseurs alike will enjoy this festival. Sponsored by Reyes Winery, Pepsi, Anheuser-Busch, main stage sponsor SCV Advanced Audiology, and VIP sponsors California Bank and Trust and Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. Visit ReyesWinery.com to purchase tickets.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM-1220, your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And our guest now is Kim Wall, an alternative medicine advocate.
Hi, guys.
Welcome, my love.
How are my friends?
Very good.
Good.
Very good. Very good.
Or the heat is coming, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't it? No, it's great. It's great.
Hey, you should see my garden. Every day I go and pick out of my garden all my little baby kale. And the next morning, there's twice as many more there to pick.
Oh,
so
yes.
it's
Yay.
spring and
Spring
growth is in the
here.
air. Yes.
Don't you love it?
I do.
Except for those people who have like asthma and allergies and things like that. That
Well,
negatively affects
I used
them.
to have
but
allergies really bad when I was younger, and that's kind of one of the very first things I ever addressed with homeopathy was asthma or was allergy symptoms. And I will have to say that I've been 30 years allergy-free because I was able to use homeopathics. And what was, for me, the really funny one was, when we talk about homeopathy, it's always like cures like. Well, the remedy that worked the best for my allergies was red onion. So when you cut a red onion, what happens? Your nose waters, your eyes water, you get a tickle in your throat. Well, with homeopathic red onion, or what's called allium cepa, when I took that, it would get rid of those symptoms. So instead of taking...
When you say take them,
they were back then. They were little
nose
pellets.
Drops or
no, they were little teeny
eardrops
pellets I put under my tongue.
Pellets.
Little pellets put under my
Did they
tongue.
taste like red onion?
They didn't. They tasted like nothing. They
Oh,
taste
okay.
like either the
Like methane?
No, nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Wait
taste
a
like
minute.
nothing. They were either made out of a sugar lactose or a milk lactose. Today, 30 years later, homeopathy comes in water-based, which is why I'm an advocate with King Bio, because I love the water-based. It's the purest form. Or alcohol, glycerin, or a milk or a sugar lactose. So was this little teeny pill, and I would put it under my tongue with my symptoms, and my runny nose and itchy eyes would go away. So I would use that according to how I felt, and within about a season of allergies, I don't have those symptoms anymore. And I used to live on allergy medicine like it was candy back in the day. You know, the Sudafeds, the Actifeds, back before when it was over the counter.
Which are far terrible. They're terrible
yes,
drugs.
Exactly.
They increase blood pressure. They have they dry your mouth. They do all these things to your
suppress
body.
your immune system long term.
Your taste, your smell, everything goes.
Exactly. And here I use this little remedy, and it worked. And, you know, that's kind of why I went to school and became educated and went down this homeopathic path, because it's so amazing. And it's really interesting you bring it up, because allergies are one of the biggest things we have going on in the world today. And if we understand the biodynamics of this whole cycle, when we have more carbon dioxide produced in the air from people and machines and things, the plants suck that up, but it causes them to produce more flowers, to produce more pollens. So the actual pollen count in our world is up quite a bit because of this whole cycle that's happening. So we don't want to suppress it, but if we get our body to respond the proper way, and that's where we kind of need to be more educated, as opposed to just taking allergy medicine. Well, think about what pollen is, what it looks like. It's a crazy little round spore with these little jagged edges that go in there and just irritate everything. So think about how you have it in your life, you know? If you're coming in the day with your clothes from outside and you're throwing your clothes on the outside on your bed or whatever, think how you're bringing the pollen into your home. You know, is it on your body? If you're that hypersensitive, then make sure you're doing things so you're not bringing that into your house.
True.
You know, people don't think about your pillow lays all day long out on your bed, and it collects whatever's floating down from the sky. So, you know, if you take that pillow and you lay on it, you're getting a lot of dust and pollen and substances that are there. So, you know, that's why it's important to have like a cover on your pillow so it doesn't collect those things, but maybe keep it tucked under something and bring it out fresh when you lay on it. But using something homeopathic for allergies, like the King Bio line, which happens to be my favorite, because what he did that was so unique is he actually took and divided the United States of America, Canada and Hawaii too, won't leave them out, into regions. And what he did in those formulas is all the things of that region. So the trees, the weeds, the grasses, the molds, the pollens.
Indigenous to that area.
Exactly.
Right.
The things you're going to grow up with to develop those allergies are the things that are in that formulation. But then there's also things in there like the allium cepa or other remedies to deal with the symptoms of the allergies. And then the thing in there that people kind of makes people's mind twist in a little weird way is he also puts in there homeopathic histamine. Well, why would that be in there? Because if you're having an overreaction to your histamine, your body's in a state of always reacting to everything.
That's right.
If we put homeopathic histamine in there, we can calm that down so it's creating a proper response instead of an overreactive response without being suppressive like an antihistamine or a drug would be, which would give us, like you were saying, certain side effects. So with the homeopathic, let's say you had high blood pressure, you could actually do a homeopathic allergy formula to help with those symptoms and not have to be concerned that your blood pressure or affecting your other medications you might be on, so you could get some results, but not have to worry about, you know, I've got to ask my doctor first if this is going to interact with my, you know, my medications, because that's one of the most simple, most powerful things of homeopathy is it's not a biochemical medicine. It's not like food or supplements or RX drugs. Those are chemicals. Those are biochemicals we put into our body, we digest, our body breaks that energy down and creates a biochemical response. Homeopathy is bioenergetic. It's not a molecule milligram-based medicine. It's energetic. And what Samuel Hahnemann, the father of homeopathy, was looking at was that whole logic of like cures like. So if we take, and I'll take red onion, if I was to cut red onion and inhale it, we know we could take 1,000 people in a room and set them all up with a red onion and have them cut that onion and then sniff it and see what happens. And we're going to see a huge response through that group that's all the same. There might be some few odd little responses along the way, and in our homeopathic materia medica and repertory, the tools we use, it would list all those little things. But if we take that onion and with homeopathy we potentize it or dilute it, we dilute it and succuss it over and over and over till we get to a point where there's no physical molecules in there. At 12C or 24X is when that happens, but the energetic properties of what that stimulates in the body is. So if we know red onion stimulates an aggravation of the mucosa, when we take homeopathic allium cepa, it actually will calm down irritations of the mucosa for whatever reason.
But it's not just to red onion, though. It's to a lot of things. And
Sure,
they
we
found
can
that
have
it can be all over the spectrum.
Yes, and we can have a variety of different things in that homeopathic remedy, from the actual irritants, like some of the ones that he makes in his formulations. He actually makes them for outside air pollution. He makes it for chemicals in your home. He makes it for molds. He makes it for animal dander. So no matter what your allergen might be, because we don't want to suppress it. In fact, I was listening to a training session on my way here, and they were talking about a study out of Canada where they actually saw an increase in brain tumors of people that were heavy antihistamine users.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was a really scary thing to think about, because again, we don't want to suppress all this inward. We just want our body to adapt. And homeopathy is a great tool for adaptation to a situation, but it can also be very curative too. Like in my case, I went years with allergies, lived on it like that stuff was candy. I don't have that, but if I was to go somewhere, like if I was in my yard as an example, and I'm cleaning and I'm raking and I'm dealing with dust and mold and, stuff that would I find in my half acre of, my little mini farm, I might actually take something homeopathically to treat the mold that I know I'm raking up. I'm seeing in the oranges and the things that are on the ground, because I'm in the environment. And that's what homeopathy kind of is. If I'm going into an environment, or let's say as an example, I'm going to go somewhere where I know there's going to be a lot of sick people, I might take my remedy with me and use it. So I'm saying, hey, immune system, be ready. We might get attacked, but we don't want to overreact. We want to react just enough to maintain homeostasis, to maintain that balance. And with the antihistamine, we're suppressing things into the body that our body, isn't flushing out the things out of our nose. Well, that's important. So if you're not going to let your body flush it out naturally, then get a saline solution or get something you can rinse into the nose to clean it out. Because again, your body, these are only symptoms that your body's saying, hey, I need some help here. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't want to shut down. We want to have we want to have a relationship with our bodies. This is very therapeutic for long-term survival.
But it's everybody's body, almost everybody's body has an immune system, and that immune system has learned to react to things in the environment. And the body has ways of allowing that to happen. So what you're saying is at the lower doses, we're still subtly stimulating the immune system so that when something actually comes and hits it, it doesn't act out tremendously and give you all the symptoms.
Exactly. And realistically, in Western medicine, we've actually seen this with flu shot, or with, I did not say that, with allergy shots. That was a Freudian slip. Erase and back up. No, we see that with allergy shots and how, the theory of what allergy shots are. The problem is this. It's not the fact that I'm going to give you a small dose of something to help desensitize you. It's the chemicals and the adjuvants that they put into those shots we don't know what that's doing to our immune system. That's the concern. So with homeopathy, we eliminate all of that. There is no toxicity. There is no wheat, gluten, sugar. There's none of that stuff in what a King Bio formula is, Dr. King's medicine. Other companies, yes, there's other things out there. That's why I'm an advocate for Dr. King, because I feel he is the #1 manufacturer, practitioner-based manufacturing out in the market. He's walked the walk, he talks the talk. And that's where with those remedies we can make a difference. But you're right. We just want to see that simplicity, because if we have sleep issues or we have digestion issues, there's things we can do. Because if I keep taking the physical chemical things to change my body has been in a state of trying to adapt and survive. So maybe my body's in a weird loop that it's forgotten to just calm down. So I'm hyper allergically reacting to everything as opposed to going, oh no, that's not that big of a deal. Like I read the study the other day about the whole peanut allergy thing. Don't give this to our children and blah, 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 blah. We have more peanut allergies now, more of a problem. I do believe though that is associated with vaccines, my personal opinion. But they were also saying that now there's some scientists showing that if we expose the kids to a little bit of these things all along their path, then they're not as
like
hypersensitive.
homeopathic
Homeopathics, but
do.
even, yes, exactly. Yes, but even so, introducing it in a physical form as a small amount of a peanut source or whatever. But again, we're when it comes to things like that in our immune system, I think we've kind of jumped in a weird hyperloop because nobody's looking at the factor of what the vaccines and the adjuvants of the vaccines and the toxicity of the heavy metals are doing to our immune system. Those adjuvants are put into vaccines to cause our immune system to hyper respond. Well, now how do you tell the immune system, okay, now calm down, it's okay,
Yeah.
not everything else is a hyper response? That's we've kind of set ourselves up into a way where sometimes these things don't even make sense to us. I mean, I bet you even see as a doctor, the changes in what people's health is and where they've gone in things that might not have been relevant, 50, 60, 70 years ago, where today, dementia and Alzheimer's and the loss of the mind and even the quality of health of our seniors is kind of been eroding away as opposed to slowly building up. And I think a part of that has to go to the toxicity. And that's why homeopathy, I'm so passionate about it, because there isn't a toxicity issue. In fact, I was at a conference this last weekend in Arizona for the National Center of Homeopathy, and it's a physician MD naturopathic-based conference, so it was for the professional industry. And it was awesome to see what homeopathy is doing around the world.
Cool.
And it's sad that America isn't on that bandwagon as much, but one of the studies was done with AIDS patients in Africa, and how they were actually able to get their immune response up with the homeopathics.
Wow.
And this are the people, the forgotten ones. And it was an amazing study. And then this clinic in India where this guy sees 1,000 people a day coming. They were lined up around the building for cancers and everything. And he's curing people. And then a place that was in the Caribbean that was manufacturing homeopathic vaccines. Homeopathic, and actually getting results in their case with some of the diseases, the bacterial issues that happen in the Caribbean due to storms and standing water and some of the diseases they're more prone to, and they were getting results. Now, the sad thing was that facility's actually been shut down.
Really? Why?
Because we can't take from Big Pharma. Yeah. And if you know about the Caribbean, Big Pharma manufactures in the Caribbean millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars of drugs.
Yeah, we're rolling our fingers together right now.
Yes,
we understand
we are.
that concept.
Yeah.
But when we come back, Kim, let's talk a little bit about the homeopathic vaccines, which, we've talked about regular vaccines, but, let's talk about those because that, I think, our listeners are many listeners with kids and even adults want to know more about. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio, and with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station, KHTS.
I've been into cars ever since I was 6 years old. I helped my dad build race cars in our driveway.
Dave Reeves, owner of Reeves Complete Auto Center.
I love cars. I've been in automotive service my whole life. I ran my dad's wrecking yard and rear end shop, managed several auto repairs until I opened my own auto repair facility.
Reeves, on Ruther in Canyon Country.
I learned customer service and honest communication make the difference.
Reeves, your complete auto service center.
Call Reeves at 252-1400.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
All-Star Sports Grills is the best place in town to catch a Dodger game on one of their 17 screens and choose a cold one from 23 different tap beers. All-Star Sports Grills prides itself on their fresh, made-to-order menu, including half-pound Angus burgers. Enjoy an all-star comedy show the fourth Wednesday of the month. All-Star Sports has a pet-friendly and smoking patio. All-Star Sports Grills on Bouquet Canyon, north of Plum Canyon.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetic, so which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking with Kim Wall, who's an alternative medicine advocate. Wow, that's a mouthful, kid.
It sure is, Barbara.
I have to watch myself every time I say it. That's why I've written it down.
But, you are an advocate, and, we've talked many times about vaccines, but one of the things you mentioned was the homeopathic vaccine that may be coming out or may have been shut down now at this point.
Exactly. This company actually manufactured them, and what it was is they manufacture it because, see, with homeopathy, it's done in a water, alcohol, a very easy base to do. So what they did is they put it into water bottles, and then they send these people home with their water bottles that they would sip on. And it helped with the symptomatics. So much so that for the next 2 years, even with the hurricanes and the because this is a common thing in the Caribbean, but even within the next 2 years, the average episode of this happening was down 27% because the people had done it. And again, it's a whole science thing. Homeopathy is no better than the medical profession when it comes to some of the egos of homeopaths. So I'm going to put that out there. I'm a both sides, tell it like it is kind of a person. So, but I will tell you as an experience, when my children were younger, yes, we could definitely use homeopathic remedies to match what we know might be coming. When my children were little, I live on a cul-de-sac, and there were 12 children that lived on our street. And scarlet fever came to our street. And when I found out that one of the kids had scarlet fever and all the kids had been playing together, I gave all of my children homeopathic belladonna. Because in the literature it says that homeopathic belladonna is what we would give as a, per se, not just because whatever, I don't like the word vaccine, but a response that we would do for an exposure. My 3 kids did not get scarlet fever. All the other 9 children did. So that shows that if I know my kids were exposed to the flu or the measles or whatever it was, I could give my children homeopathics. Now, in homeopathy, we would call those no-sodes. A no-sode. A no-sode.
S-O-L-D?
Yes, N-O-S-O-D-E. A no-sode is made from a disease substance. So we take the measles virus and we homeopathically dilute it and succuss it and dilute it and succuss it.
Succussing means to dry it.
We're pounding that remedy.
I see.
It's a succussion.
Okay.
So we're pounding the memory.
Like a concussion, but a succussion.
Concussion with a force, with a purpose.
Okay.
And once we do that and we put that into the water, then that remedy now can stimulate the immune system. So the no-sodes, unfortunately, that's one of those things the government wants to say homeopathy doesn't work, it's all placebo, but they don't want us to have that tool. So there are some people out in the industry that do manufacture them. But the point being is this, that no-sodes would be an amazing tool we could use. There are things called bowel no-sodes, which bowel no-sodes are the own bacteria in our own gut. So let's say you've had antibiotic history or you've had a food poisoning or you've had something happen, a septic infection in your body, and we know that a lot of those good bacteria are damaged and we give you a probiotic, that's great. But that might be like throwing seeds in the desert. We want to look at the terrain in which that's going to be so we can use these bowel no-sodes sometimes to correct imbalances in the intestinal tract where there's been damage. But the beauty would be, yes, how amazing would it be that we could educate parents that when we have things like the measles or chicken pox or the mumps or these things that are actually naturally occurring growth in our own immune system, we should have these things happen because that's how our immune system develops and matures. We don't want to lose that. But what could we do as a parent if we had that little remedy like I did with my belladonna, and I know, hey, measles is going around and my kids have it, I can give that remedy. They might have been exposed to the measles, but that remedy is going to help their immune system respond in a proper way. In fact, Dr. King's own son, I'm going to probably guess about 30 some odd years ago, was actually rushed to the hospital with a horrible case of measles, rash, fever, the whole 9 yards. He was out of town. He flies into the hospital, gets there in the middle of the night, gives him a homeopathic remedy, and by morning the child was completely normal. The doctor's responses were this: oh, then he must not have had the measles because nobody recovers that quickly. So being the fact that he was a doctor and what he did, he said, I'd like to have a titers report. And guess what the titer report showed? Measles. He had measles. So it's there, but we got to realize what we're up against with Big Pharma. They don't want us to jump into their billion-dollar vaccine pond. Nope. Well, it needs to be, that's the swamp that needs to be drained.
Well, I think I told you when I was young, I had the measles, the mumps, the chicken pox, all of the childhood diseases, whooping cough. I didn't get any shots for it.
No. And
They
if you had
didn't
whooping
have 'em
cough,
then.
and if you have whooping cough, let's put you on some really good vitamin A and vitamin D, and we can get rid of that right away. But that's what we're not taught, Barb. We're not taught the tools to use in the emergency. We're taught you're sick. Now it's an emergency. You only have one option, and that's the MD. Well, I want to help people right back here when I get the tickle in my throat. Or I got the little thing going on, or I know every April, that tree out in my backyard is going to bloom and I'm going to have an issue. Now I can bring something in as easy and simple as homeopathy and natural foods that are anti-inflammatory, or even a simple thing as a nasal rinse to help my body adjust.
So you talk about Kim Bio formulary, but how do people... King Bio
I like your
formulary,
slip too. See,
but
that was a
Kim,
good slip.
How do they get a hold of you?
Well,
to discuss
if they
these
want to
issues?
discuss these issues with me, you can always reach me at 818-683-4876 or at educator.com, or excuse me, educator@kingbio.com. But you can also go to Dr. King's website directly. He's got a whole person appraisal on there. He's got videos that show you how to decompress and address different health issues. So I recommend go check that out. Empower yourself.
Yeah, the
Kim
other
Bio
thing.
formulary.
Kim Bio formulary.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was the article in the ARP magazine.
We'll do that next week.
Next month.
Next time.
Next month.
You bet. Next month, Barb.
Yes, we will.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.